Nick, can you just tell us a little bit about your background? You gave us the quick synopsis, but tell us a little bit about your background and your journey and how you ended up doing what you're doing with ETHJETS. If you could do that for me, please.
Yeah, so I feel very fortunate. I was, one of those kids from a young age. I've been pretty much obsessed with airplanes and aviation. I can remember as a kid attaching a wagon to the back of my bike, and I would, not tell my friends this, but I'd offer them, a ride somewhere, and I'd secretly pretend I was a pilot, flying them around. So it's something that's been in my blood, a passion since I was a young kid. Was fortunate enough to get my pilot license in high school, and just really hard charged aviation from the get-go, which led me to the current airline I fly for. Been flying for this airline for a little over 15 years. I'm a current line check airman. And so what's unique that a lot of people don't realize is when a new first officer gets hired at an airline, they send them through, a couple months of ground school training, and then they're in the simulator for a couple months. And these simulators are very realistic, but their first flight in a real plane is with real passengers, with a pilot like myself, a check airman captain. So that's always a lot of fun, get to, be with them their first flight. And then, so aviation has always been my thing. And then I kind of got the crypto NFT bug about a year ago, and which led me into ETHJETS. So I was trying to find something that didn't exist and decided I'd create my own.
So Nick, I share your passion on aviation. I started flying when I was, I think about 13, something like that. I had my student pilot license when I was 15. And so when Nick and I originally connected, we had a great conversation. I just, I'm passionate about aviation. And then I find out that you're passionate about crypto and digital. And it was just really great to have you agree to come be part of this. So thank you. Nick, one of the really cool things about when we've been doing this blockchain series is I have my vision has been expanded so much. And really I'm understanding there's so many things happening in the industry, with respect to blockchain, but it's really driven by the needs of the industry. All right. And so let's take a minute and talk a little bit about the industry. So, I'm going to quickly read something to you that I just pulled up off the internet this morning. And everything that we read on the internet is true. So I'm going to go ahead and read this. Is that, the global business jet market size was 25.87 billion in 2021. The market's projected to grow to 29 billion in 2022, and then to 38 billion by 2029. So it's going from 25 billion to 38 billion by 2029. What do you think is driving some of that growth?
I think it's twofold. I think during the pandemic, one thing we saw is the rich got really rich, and that gap in what people made their income, it exponentially grew for a select group of people in this country. And then you add that into that fold, kind of and I hate to say it because I'm an airline pilot, but just the experience of flying on an airline these days is not that great. It's a stressful environment right when you get there through TSA and all the way onto the plane. So I think it's a twofold deal, the wealth going up. And that's another thing to note. I read a statistic recently that the airline premium travel market used to represent, they owned basically like a 90% share of that forever, and had recently lost 10%, which is a big deal. So they only represent now 80% of like the premium travel market.
Yeah, I can believe that. Hey, a couple of other, thoughts or comments on that. I've had a couple of guests on this broadcast, friends of mine's, business associates, and one of them is Mark Dismuke, and he's the executive vice president of sales at One Flight International out of Denver, and they operate, business jets. And, basically they have grown just dramatically. They've had record years of travel, in the last couple of years. And so we know that more and more people are traveling on business jets. And then another friend of mine, Renee Bangelsdorf, she was the president and CEO of Charlie Bravo Aviation. They help people buy jets, business jets, and sell them. And now she's running another business in conjunction. She sits on the board of Charlie Bravo Aviation. But, they've had record years on the sales as well. So Nick, what we're seeing is that because of the pandemic and because people want to have more convenient travel, because of the lack of efficiency in airline travel and, delays and cancellations and things like that, people want to have different alternative means for travel. So we definitely see there's a business problem, that exists. There's no question about that. Yeah,
absolutely. And that's the thing too, is if anybody who's ever flown, a private jet and experienced that luxury, you're never going to want to go back to any first class on any airline. You can't match it.